At this time, we're going to open it up to public comment. I have 4 sheets here of folks who said that they would like to speak or whose names are on the list. If your name is on the list without a check mark next to it, I'm going to assume that either you don't want to speak or you are going to be giving your 3 minutes to someone else, probably who signed up before or after you on the list. Let us know when you come up if that is your plan. If you are a maybe on this list, I will call your name. I'll call names twice if nobody stands up.
Some people did not check.
Some people signed it without voting.
Correct. I will read every name.
Thank you.
And everyone will, as I said, be given 3 minutes to speak. The mayor is going to have a timer.
Ooh, I got a big job.
The timer will go off at 3 minutes. When you hear the timer go off, please wrap up your thoughts.
Hey, first person's trial run.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is gonna work, so we're gonna try it.
The first person I have is Lori Howard. Under that, I have Jeff Howard. Not sure if you're speaking together or.
Jeff's gone.
Okay.
We all talk too much. Okay, Lori, how are you? Don't start my time.
I'm not starting it until you say your name.
It's fine. I'll just stand up here.
Here, let's,
Okay, thanks.
us short people need, fixed.
So when the explosions.
Whoa, state your name.
Lori Howard, Wildwood Road. When the explosions happened at your other stores, did they sell the same level of consumer fireworks?
Let me clarify, this is not a time to ask questions of the applicant, this is a time to state your piece. You can, if you'd like, make requests that council ask those questions of the applicant during our time. I apologize, I wasn't clear on that. This is a time for you to address council and let us know what your thoughts are.
Perfect. I believe that the traffic in and out of Phantom Fireworks will definitely affect Wildwood Road for sure. People cut through Wildwood to get to Route 3. Minerva Park is used as a throughway. So it definitely, if you think that that's not going to happen, it will. Or the street that's right adjacent to Phantom. People also try to go down Park Lane even though the sign says it's a dead end because they do that every day as well. We've had 2 schools added to our village. We don't have sidewalks and we were told that there was a traffic study then and that the traffic wouldn't be horrible. We can barely go down Minerva Lake Road during school release. So this is just going to add to that. This is information for you to take in consideration and also, obviously, you guys. You can't put a price on people's lives. I know that that explosion happened and you're promising us that it's not going to happen at the store because there's, it's state-of-the-art new building products, but things do happen and there are explosives. So if it's the same type of fireworks that were at the Melbourne store, then definitely it can happen. I feel like the peace of mind that we have when we pull into our neighborhood will be lost. If this goes through, we can't assume that if Phantom doesn't move in, that something much worse will. Potentially something so much better to be our neighbor as well. And also the fact that fireworks are going to be accessible so easily to people adjacent to us and in the neighborhood. Does this mean that we're going to enforce the fireworks ordinance in Minerva Park? There's been a lot of sleepless nights with the residents here, a lot of pets running off and wildlife running off. So hopefully if this does happen and people have access to it, our police department's going to be diligent on going after people setting fireworks off during times that shouldn't be.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Thank you. Next
Hang
is...
on, I'm doing a trial here. There you go. You had plenty of time left.
Next, I have Sue Craylow. Sue? No?
She already asked that question.
Okay. Kathy Williams.
I weigh.
Kelly Hagan.
I'm Kelly Hagan, I live on Wildwood Road. Quick question. Now, in Minerva Park, we pay RETA taxes. We are considered a municipality, correct? Okay. Has anybody looked up Ohio Revised Code 715.60 regarding the regulation of explosives in a municipality? Was that, I'm asking out of the... No? Okay. I think we should look into that because it states, any municipal corporation may regulate the transportation, keeping, and sale of gunpowder and other explosives or dangerous combustibles and materials, and provide or license magazines therefor. Considering, I know they're saying they're not explosives, but they are. I mean, they go boom, they can cause fires. I would like to know if that was something that was considered when all this was brought forth. It is going to have an impact on residents. As Lori stated, Wildwood Road is going to see a huge impact on traffic. Jordan Road, you live on Jordan Road. You're going to see a lot of people going down Jordan Road thinking we could get out of here. Another concern I have is we're talking about using police officers or security to help with the impact of traffic. Is that going to be Minerva Park police officers? Because our taxes pay for them to protect the village. To use them to regulate traffic in and out of a fireworks store is taking away from their time in protecting the residents here. So those are all concerns that I have. I don't know if you have thought about that or if we'll hear the answers to that. But these are concerns that we have, as well as decrease in property value. You know, a lot of people are going to come in Minerva Park. It's a quiet village. You put a fireworks store right there, that impacts the residents. That impacts our property values, and negatively. So these are kind of concerns we have. I'm not real sure that it's being heard properly, you know, the residents' concerns. But these are questions, and I would like to know if somebody is going to look into 715.60 of the Ohio Revised Code, because I think that does apply to us. So if we could possibly get an answer to that, that would be great. And I'll leave the rest of my time.
Thank you. Okay, I think I can just stop it. Okay, I'm getting good at this.
I trust that our
Are you making
council
notes
is making some notes right now.
to answer some of those? Because some of those are simple, quick answers. Okay, I'm just making notes.
Up next, I have Penny Jones.
Hi, my name is Penny Jones. I'm on Park Lane Drive. I'm the one who everybody turns around in my driveway. So they think it's through away and it's not. And we've had problems with people coming through and driving through my property and thinking that it was a throwaway, even through my driveway. So I know the impact of people thinking that it is a throwaway. We can't get out. If something would happen in Jordan, we cannot get out. No service can come in. We've had trees down, and they have come down. We've had ice storms where we've been out of power for over a week. So I'm asking you, are you ready to handle over a week of power outages and water? You can have water problems too if you don't have the power. Are you ready to handle that? Those are some of my questions. And it affects my property value, it affects my taxes and my insurance. So those are some of my issues that are facing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Penny? Okay. Edith Hallback.
I'll give my time to my daughter.
Okay. Is that Tina Frazier?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, well, oh wait, I might be able to do this. Hang on.
There you go.
We'll
You
see
got
how
it.
it
Look at you, Tim.
Look at me. Hey, iPhones are so smart.
Hi, my name is Tina Frazier. My mom, Edith Hallbeck, and I and my husband live on Jordan Road. We're 2 houses east of the church that's on Jordan Road. Our concern is having an elderly relative living with us. We're concerned that the increase in traffic, even with the new lane markings for left turns into the GFS property and everything like that is going to cause enough of a traffic headache that emergency vehicles will lose access potentially to our street to help the people in our little part of the neighborhood get the access to emergency services that they need. We have a gentleman on the road that is completely disabled. We have a gentleman on our street that is blind. We have a lady on our street that is deaf. My neighbor is dealing with recovering from cancer. So we have a lot of elderly concerns and also just general health concerns for emergency services. So we're really concerned that the increase in traffic on Cleveland Avenue around the Jordan Road and Teakwood intersections would affect the ability for emergency services to adequately and quickly respond to any needs we may have in the event of a personal emergency. So that's what I'd like to say about that.
Thank you. Any questions?
Denise Morrison?
My name is Denise Morrison. I live on Wildwood Road. I understand fireworks are explosives, and we are the only municipality within the 270 border that allows fireworks off, or allows fireworks. We are the smallest area that allows fireworks, and in order to shoot off fireworks, well, what I'm trying to say is, I feel the residents, their concerns and their feelings and their health and their welfare and their safety are actually being devalued. In order to shoot off fireworks, you're only allowed to shoot off fireworks on private property by an owner's permission. Many cities in central Ohio prohibit residents from discharging fireworks on their property. The ones that prohibit it are Bexley, Columbus, Dublin, Gahanna, Hilliard, Upper Arlington, Westerville, and Worthington. All of those cities surround Minerva Park. Within a 1 mile radius of the GFS building, or Phantom Fireworks, there are over 20,000 people that live in that area. Now, fireworks, you want safety first, and I'm not sure what pamphlets you give out or what requirements you tell everybody, and I'm sure, and it's not the building that's the issue, it's the product. So our concern isn't about the building. I mean, yes, there's a concern about the traffic. It's not about the building, it's about the product. Somebody else mentioned that it's easily accessible. Okay, once again, we are the only community that allows fireworks. Granted, it's restricted on certain days, but safety first. They can only be shut off if there's 150 feet or more away from people and structures. To get 150 feet, you would have 3 of our houses on my street. There is nowhere in Minerva Park, or very few places, that if you were going to shoot off fireworks, you would have 150 feet where you wouldn't touch a structure. So I'm not sure why Minerva Park allows fireworks to go off in the first place. Storage. There's no more than 125 pounds that should be stored in one place. Your building is 89 feet from the road, 34 feet from the east side from that neighbor's property, and 31.5 feet from the south. State Fire Marshal said 128 fireworks caused incidents in Ohio, resulted in 23 resulting building fires. Thank you.
Questions? Patrick Lanky?
10 speed, I'm gonna wait.
Are you sure?
I thought I was doing right by signing in.
We appreciate that effort, solid effort. Did the rest of you follow directions to sign in?
Lynn Eisenhower.
I'll pass this time.
Okay. Rick?
Rick Hochstetter, Wildwood Road. I speak in favor of a disapproval. My concern is...
Can you fix, before his time starts, can you fix his mic? Absolutely, can't hear him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I speak in favor of disapproval because just a sort of informal survey, trying to figure out, okay, once these fireworks are sold, who uses them and how often? And we used to have a greyhound who thought that every report was a gunshot and would either take off for the hills or hide it or something. And the second one, of course, he'd hide. And I sort of got interested after that. There are the period 2 weeks prior and sort of a week after July 4th, some on New Year's, a few other holidays, we have what we call fireworks conversations, where someone lights one off, someone lights off something bigger, 2 or 3 people respond, and that goes on for a while, and of course you get to July 4th, the bigger this conversations get. My concern is this. The limiting factor on those conversations is having to travel to Grove City or to Crawfordsville. We just took that limitation off. And those conversations are going to get bigger. And my sense is that the, say, 30-block radius around in the park is our catchment area. That's roughly the area that I think they're being fired off. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a lot more activity during those periods. And we may add some, so I'm opposed to this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Ed Detweiler? Gene McCall?
Gene McCall, 5361 Park Lane Drive. I've got shift gears here.
Okay, hang on, because I already started you. Let me delete you. Test.
All right, Gene McCall, 5361 Park Lane Drive. I had a list of questions for everybody, not understanding the format, so I'm going to switch gears here. And I presented or sent a email, hopefully all of you got it, with photographs of all 17 of the Phantom Fireworks stores and the aerial photographs around them. And there was only one that was smack in the middle of a residential area. All the others are rural, industrial park, or heavy commercial centers. And the one in Grove City had been an H.H. Gregg. Could you see having an H.H. Gregg appliance store, you know, at the top of our street? That's not going to work. So, so I sort of reviewed what you're saying about it being friendly to our neighborhood. One of the things I especially want to say that it's all in my email, but I live on Parkland Drive, and unless there is a barrier, physical barrier going out that entrance that they're talking about being an enter only, if it's just a sign that says enter only, that's not going to happen. So what happens is people think, oh, I could get out on Cleveland Avenue and deal with all that traffic and waiting at the light, or I can just turn down George Road and sneak through the neighborhood to what Penny was addressing, thinking that there's an outlet there. We have a steady stream all day long of cars, you know, anyway, when the store was open, that come through. They're not familiar with the street. We have 16, yay, new youngsters living on our street. And it is a dead-end street. When you go down Jordan, it goes into a dead-end street or to the courtyard. And our kids like to play outside. We're a nice, safe, happy community. And the kids like to ride their bikes. And sometimes they don't always, you know, follow the rules about stopping when a car comes. But these cars are also not familiar with them and the neighborhood. And so they come whipping around, and then they're even more frustrated when they find out they can't get through. They turn around and then they whip around faster. And I just hope it doesn't
turn into a tragedy for one of our children for us to realize that it's not a good idea to have any kind of exit from the building onto Jordan Road. It's already impossible for us to turn, and all those things have been addressed. But in case I'm not clear, and I haven't heard anybody else, well, Rick did just say, I would strongly encourage you to vote to deny this permit. It's not, anyway.
Did you have a list of questions you wanted us to review? We're writing down some.
Right. We're a multicultural community. There's more than just Memorial Day, July 4th, and New Year's being celebrated around here. So I beg to differ. I don't think it's just going to be, 2 to 4 weeks during the year of things being busy. I'd also like to know how they're going to make Jordan, well, they sort of explained this one, how to make Jordan access and exit only. And frankly, even the gates, they have it at Huntington get driven through, but at least if it says, if somewhere that it's, no, well, they don't pay attention to the no through sign either. So anyway, but maybe the idea is we need to put a barrier coming or moving beyond the, and into the residential, where it doesn't stop, people can still go through, but they have to stop and pause and then stop and pause and read the sign that says no outlet. So anyway, I can send you the rest of my
Yeah,
questions.
since it's that way we can have them address it. I know some people didn't know which way it was. Thank you.
Shelley Bebo?
I gave my time to Jean. Would you recommend or that they pass me on?
Cindy Dissinger?
I'll take my maybe.
Oh, wait, I'm not ready. Okay, go ahead.
Cindy Dissinger, Jordan Road. So I feel the purpose of my local government is to keep me safe. And I'm sorry, I don't think that this is a safe proposal for us. It is a no outlet street. I echo Penny. I mean, there's only one way in, there's only one way out. My husband's on blood thinners. So on July 1st, Phantom Fireworks has a tremendous amount of Cleveland Avenue traffic. My husband needs help. Seconds. This is life. So it's going to be hard on Jordan Road with all of the traffic. I also did just a quick study of all of the residential communities, as you mentioned. I don't think this is an adjacent or is compatible to what we currently have in our park. We have restaurants, we have groceries, we have hair salons, barbers. We don't have explosives. I don't think it fits. And the reason why I don't think it fits is all of the stuff that was said tonight. The fire, the ESFR, is that required for anyone else? Any other building in Mineral Park? The smoke exhaust system, the smoke test, the shuttling of employees, emergency action plans, suppression shelving, rated walls, ballards, dry and wet fire extinguishers, hours that go to 1 a.m., and checks for cigarette lighters at the door. Does Jack Yasmin's do that? Do any of the other 27 commercial properties do that? No. This is different. This is very different. Okay. So I did not hear the contingency plan for parking. On July 1st, when there's more than 63 cars. What is the contingency plan? In my head, the contingency plan is going to be, let's park on Jordan Road,
Yep.
all the way down. And guess what? Jordan Road is a no outlet road. It's been mentioned. So they get to turn around in pennies. Or any of ours. And again, there are so many kids. And one other thing I really want to mention, nothing was mentioned about CODA. CODA has a bus service on Cleveland Avenue. When you have 50 or 100 extra cars on Cleveland Avenue on July 1st, their schedule is going to be impacted. Bottom line.
Thank you. Have fireworks on us.
I have Ed Norris.
Good evening. My name is Ed Norris. I live on Jordan Road. My wife and I have been there for 100 years, it seems. What I wanted to address tonight is the traffic burden, which everyone has mentioned, but there's a couple of things that no one has mentioned. Yasmin International Market gets all their deliveries in the back. And how do they get their deliveries? By a semi. How are you going to turn a semi around when the lot's closed? He's going to block Jordan Road. That's what we expect. So, and when you guys have deliveries, the same thing's going to happen. The road gets blocked, maybe just for a minute or so, but it's something to consider. All right. With GFS empty right now, traffic moves through the Yasmin International Market at a quick pace. Many of their customers fail to yield to oncoming traffic on Jordan Road, flying straight across to get to the great light there that's only working on 3 sides. This is a terrific hazard. Proof is my car was broadside there not 2 weeks ago by one of their customers. Never looked up, never saw me, thought it was a straight thoroughfare. Now, if that road, if that entrance gets cut off, okay, then they'll have to make some other plan. But if it isn't, we got the same thing. That place is huge and it's busy all the time. I mean, Mayor can tell you how often it is completely full and spilling out. And in this thing, we've also said the turning left is impossible there most hours of the day. There have been a number of accidents at that intersection in the past few months. One several months ago took out the car poles at the corner, resulting in a fatality, which was not reported. The car was destroyed in 3 pieces, and the person was killed. And there wasn't anything about it. The reason we know is one of the neighbors walked up and asked the fire, the emergency people, they said, yeah, there's the car, the engine's up in front of it. Yeah. Now, I don't know why that wasn't reported, but anyway, these are things that happen right at our little street. Jordan being a no outlet street with a sign indicating this was knocked down in the past and it's got to put back up. It's dated. I don't know if you've seen it. No outlet. So inevitably people turn around in our driveway, Teresa's driveway, Valerie's driveway, your driveway all the time in the church. It looks like they've got services going on. It's so busy. So the deliveries to Yasmin and next door is going to make egress slow. If the plan is to cut that off, that's going to be something. Really. Anyway, gridlock is what I'm talking about. Parking on our side of the street or the south side of the street. Turn around our driveway all day long when it's busy, and it will get busy. Or they'd rather park there on our street than park in the parking lot because they can't get out. So anyway, I reconsider.
Thank you. Teresa?
You say Lisa?
Teresa Franks?
Teresa Franks. Yes. All right, my name is Teresa Franks, and I lived on, I purchased a house on Jordan Road 31 years ago. I actually lived on Jordan Road for 50 years. I've seen since Jeff Estes has been built, I've been there when it was first built, and I don't know how you can compare GFS to Phantom, because there's numerous GFS stores in Central, in Columbus area, where there's only going to be one Phantom fireworks. So, the traffic is going to be worse. I mean, it's going to be congested. There's more holidays that we hear, and everybody knows fireworks being let off. So if you have the product here, you're going to have more people coming to this area to purchase them. And that's my concern. Everything else has been covered, so.
Thank you. I think I failed on that 3 minutes. I didn't push start.
She wasn't here. I have Marie Takis and John Takis as well.
My name is Marie Takis, and I've been a longtime resident on Jordan Road. I haven't been a public speaker for a long time, so I wanted to read this to you. But it's short. But there are 2 points that I'd like to talk about tonight. I realize that where Phantom Fireworks wants to be is zoned residential commercial. It is the residential area that worries me should there be a fire. I took my trusty tape measure up to the old GFS and measured from the back wall to the wooden fence behind it and discovered there is a 34-foot distance. Now I know that Phantom Fireworks will say that they pass all fire and safety measures. However, we all know that the occasional freak accident can happen, just as it did for Phantom Fireworks in Melbourne, Florida in 2022. Who would have ever thought that a car would drive through the wall of the store and cause an explosion from the many fireworks? If you view the videos of that fire, you can see that it was quite big. There is only 34 feet from the back of the store to the fence. Very close to that fence is the residence of Jennifer and Jeff Knotts. Their property has many large overhanging trees above the fence and a wooded and grassy area in the back third of their property. I would imagine with an explosion this would ignite quickly, spreading across the Knotts property and to adjoining properties with the potential to spread to the backyards of the next street over, which is Wildwood. My second point pertains to this area being zoned residential commercial. The 2 businesses adjoining this property are a food truck establishment, which is right next door, and the next door down is a small daycare center. I checked with the child care licensing representative and found out that daycares must pass a yearly fire inspection conducted by a fire marshal. I can't imagine a fire marshal declaring that it is safe to have a daycare so close to a fireworks business. I can't imagine parents or prospective parents wanting to entrust their precious children to be cared for in a place that is so close to a potential fire hazard. As a result, I also wonder if this owner could potentially lose their license and their livelihood if they are unable to pass fire safety rules. Thank you for listening to these concerns.
Thank you. John Takis?
Hi, my name is John Takis, and I haven't lived here 100 years, but I've been here over half of my life, by choice. Whenever Marie and I moved to the Columbus area, we were looking for a nice family place to live. We searched, and we found Jordan Road. Beautiful. I'm so glad we moved here. And what really made it our decision, Park, Minerva Park. If you look down Jordan Road, all you see are trees. First thing, anybody who's never been on our road says, I didn't know this was here. Because it is a park with trees. And trees burn. Well, I know that the gentlemen from Phantom Fireworks have said that we're a retail organization, no different than what GFS was. I don't think it is. I think it's a very different type of operation. I can't give $20 to my grandson. Go down to the store, go get me a loaf of bread, some milk, and maybe you can get some ice cream for yourself. If somebody wants to go into Phantom Fireworks, I hope to God nobody's giving $20 to send a 10-year-old down there, which means they're going to have to be checking IDs to make sure that somebody's at least 18 to purchase. So it's not the same as a retail establishment. Yeah, anybody can walk in there, but you have to be old enough to be able to make a purchase. Whenever I saw this place and saw those trees, I was just in love with the place. But one of the things I want to point out, we were here, 5 or 10 years, and there was a fire in our neighborhood, which possibly could have spread through the entire street. At that time, we had no curbs, and you just parked along the road. There were drainage ditches, there were no storm sewers. It was in the fall. Leaves come down, everybody would rake the leaves towards the street, and unfortunately someone made the error of parking on top of a pile of leaves. The leaves caught fire. Car was total. It was just a marshmallow. Residents went out, had to very quickly move the leaves to keep from having the whole neighborhood blocked. Imagine if it were the trees on Minerva Park that went and caught fire. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have David Hart and Rose Hart. Are you together, separate?
Separate.
Okay. I mean, I know you're together.
My name is David Hart. I live at the eastern end of Jordan Road. I've lived there for 20 years. I prepared a bunch of stuff here, but I'll only mention a few things. First, let me confirm that Ed's talk about the end of Jordan Road, the traffic going between what used to be GFS and the service road behind Jasmine is absolutely true. I would ask of the people from Phantom Fireworks, what kind of trucks are going to be used to deliver the goods to Phantom Fireworks? Where will they drop the loads off? Will they use the downward rim on the northeast side of the building to transfer some materials into the store itself? Will they be able to maneuver these trucks? You're not going to know if they're tiny trucks, of course, if they're semis. Very difficult. The way that the GFS maneuvering things would, I think, prohibit your plane working at all to get in and out. Okay, they would have to access Jordan Road to get out. They would back up and forth, between what is the proposed now entry to the Phantom Fireworks lot and this service road behind Jasmine. 5 years ago, my car was totaled by someone doing this. I won't go into the details of that. There's a police report at Minerva Park on that. So I worry a lot about the traffic flow plan. I also realize there are 3 lanes at the Teakwood, Cleveland proposed exit. Go have a look at those. Man, you could squeak out maybe 3 tiny cars next to one another. I walk there regularly. I've never seen more than 2 cars at a time lined up
and Dixon. And I think you mentioned that you may have to change those plans, and I would like to suggest you probably will have to change those plans if you proceed with this. Finally, this is a different topic, it has to do with landscaping. There was a report prepared that reviewed landscaping here, and there's this corner, the southeast corner of the lot where there are some nice tall trees. Okay, those do not appear on that plan, but all the other trees that are there currently do. And it just, I don't want to be nasty, but I guess I'll be nasty. It makes me think, how seriously are you thinking about which trees you're going to leave there or not? It's a mess back there because people throw all sorts of stuff back there. And without the trees, it would be a lot easier to clean up than with the trees.
Thank you. Rose Hart?
Hello, my name is Rose Hart. I live on Jordan Road. So this issue is near to my home and my heart. My first concern is with the children. You've heard people here mention how many children are just at the end of my street and young children. So I have to warn you, I was a math teacher, so I like numbers. So here come a few numbers. The statistics from the U.S. Product Safety Commission, mentioned by Greg Smith just recently, has statistics from 2023, just last year. Children between 15 and 19 years of age have the highest rate of emergency department treatment, fireworks-related injuries. Next were children between 5 and 9 years. They had the second highest rate. There is a long-term trend of increase in the estimated number of injuries in fireworks between 2008 and 2023, which is 15 years. So, continuing from this report, in 2023, there were an estimated 800 emergency department treated injuries associated with firecrackers, and 700 of them were associated with sparklers. Estimated, the word estimated here is because a lot of these accidents go unreported. The part of the body most often injured were hands and fingers, and then the head, face, ears, eyes, the trunk of the body, legs and arms. An estimated 42% of the emergency department treated injuries were burns. And burns, again, were most common to the hands and fingers, head, face, ears, arms, and legs. And that's all from that report. So my worry is that since children will have fireworks more available to them now that Phantom is moving in, the danger of these injuries will increase. My second concern has to do with the legal papers that I saw, which were signed by the attorney, Mr. Funk. First of all, you mentioned that you were not licensed by the state fire marshal for the location in our village. That answer to that question was no. Second, the court documents never mentioned that your property is surrounded by a residential area, and this has been addressed by several people by now. Another thing where you answered no. No zoning sign was posted on the property in accordance with zoning code section no less than 2 weeks prior to the public hearing date. Why not? I have a final question. Do all fireworks that you sell in your store show on the label how much flash powder is in each? That amount is limited by the 1.4G fireworks category that you are allowed to sell. And so supposedly 50 milligrams is supposed to be the biggest amount in your fireworks. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jeff Knott?
I'm giving my 3 minutes to my wife Jennifer.
Okay.
Can we both go up here now?
Sure.
Okay. You don't have to stand.
All right.
Thanks.
Moral
Am I
support. No, no, go.
Okay.
Nope, you're good.
All right, I'm Jennifer Knott, my husband Jeff. We live at 2525 Jordan Road, directly behind Phantom Fireworks property. And you will find us on the aerial view that showed earlier as house. So I just want you to know, we live there. We are more than just a house. I believe we're the most affected village residents in this conditional use proposal. First of all, I want to throw a bone to Phantom. I am very pleased that the existing mature trees will be kept and are part of the plan. These trees provide a protection to our street visually, and it prevents a lot of the noise that comes from Cleveland Avenue and other areas. And so thanks to Phantom for that. I do want to bring up a little bit more about Yasmin, which includes Diwali, which is one of your higher incident or business days, business periods is around Diwali. At that time, Yasmin's parking lot fills completely. Nobody can get in or out. It overflows into the Phantom property, and they fill at least half of your property parking spots. And I don't think your traffic study actually addressed the issues that come from Yasmin, and I would hope that someone has spoken with those businesses that are over there. And Yasmin, because we live right next door, you may also not realize what we see, and that is that they're not just one semi at a time. They're 2 and 3 semis taking loads into Yasmin. They don't just sit on the street. They pull in from Jordan, then they back across the street. Meanwhile, there are semis sitting behind your building, waiting to get into Yasmin. Now, somebody needs to talk to that business and work out the problems, because a semi cannot just round the corner in their property. They can't get shipments from a semi with what's existing. It's not physically possible, and I know that because Jeff used to drive out on the road. So he does know what's involved in that sort of operation. Did you want to say anything?
We got 6 minutes here, as I understand it. Cool. Hurry on.
There are many other concerning issues. I'm only addressing 2 of them. Property maintenance and store hours of operation. I unsuccessfully tried to send photos to our group of the trash piles and tires that are littering the property at this point. And that was yesterday. I took the photos. I think you were on the property today, and you probably saw. Okay. Now, I don't foresee that Phantom will continue in that manner. What bothers me is you've had 6 months to show your hand, who you are, what kind of respect you show to our residents and to our village. And I cannot tell and do not believe that Phantom knows how to be a quality neighbor, because you've already shown who you are. And I believe that we and our neighbors want to be seen as individuals, just wanting to live respecting one another. That's who we are. Jeff and I have been heavily investing money in our property. We've only lived there 2 years. And of course it was a gamble when we moved in. But I feel like our property value will be greatly affected. And part of that is due to the hours of operation. Late night hours really don't mix with a residence. And you mentioned there will be one guy that comes in at 1 o'clock, then why stay open? Why pay the employees until 1 o'clock for that one guy? I don't get that. So if you could reduce the store hours to a reasonable level and not late night, that would be greatly appreciated. We didn't love everything about Gordon when they were there. That's just being honest. But at least at the end of the evening, the store closed. You know? And the noise stopped, at least from that area. There is the page 3, number 5, that has been referenced by our staff. And it's the proposed use will not adversely affect the public health, safety, convenience, comfort, prosperity, and general welfare. As I look at this, because I live next door, every single one of these items adversely affect at least our property. Also, the border, was that 3 minutes?
No, that was 6, but you can finish.
Okay.
We've let everybody else finish, so go ahead.
Okay. The border shown on your drawing that shows our house being outside the defined area that you're allowed. We also have a shed within that area. And I feel like you're violating our property rights by using the border extending into our property. I don't think that was the intention for this
How can that
zone.
be fair for us?
Yeah,
You're violating our property.
yeah, no, they can't answer you, so.
Just
All right.
take that moment.
All right. Well, okay, our time is up, and I will just say thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Bill.
Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Eddie Bell. I live at 2620 Jordan Road. I have prepared a lot of things to say about traffic. I think most of what I wanted to say has already been said. Cleveland Avenue is really busy. Lots of accidents, dangerous. I just can't imagine like the week of the 4th of July trying to turn left onto Cleveland Avenue from Jordan Road. There's going to be cars lined up in the middle. We're going to be locked. We can't get out. The same thing, there's going to be cars lined up on Jordan Road trying to get into the parking lot. There's going to be no parking spaces. They're going to be stuck on the road, so we're going to be kind of double stuck. And there's no other option. That's our only way in and out. And that's, any kind of emergency happens, we're stuck, we're out of luck. The other thing I wanted to mention was, well, first, Jordan Road already, I just wanted to highlight that Jordan Road already received an F for the level of service on a traffic study. There's no way that, having a fireworks store with that many people at the same time is not going to make it better. It's definitely going to make it worse. And then the other thing that I haven't heard anyone mention was this spring, the GFS parking lot that was owned by Phantom was overgrown. The weeds, the grass was over a foot tall. It had to be dealt with by a zoning officer. is that really the business that we want in Minerva Park? Yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe,
I'll skip.
you good? Matt Walber?
I gotta give my tax. Yeah.
Hello, Matt Wadden. I live on Woodley Road, which might be the farthest away of anyone's, but it's just another block. So my concern, I'm gonna try not to bring up explosions, it's getting late past our bedtimes and everything. So I'm gonna focus on pedestrian traffic. In our commercial corridor, especially starting at Woodley, there's some very, very bad traffic issues with the existing parking at the strip mall and other places. Compounding that is pedestrians trying to use the same pathway as the vehicles. I see a lot of vehicle improvements, they look great, reducing some of the right-ins, right-outs of your property and other things, but there's no crosswalks. Is that part of the Teakwood intersection project, along the Jordan Road crossing project? Is there going to be like pedestrian signals across your drives, across Cleveland Avenue, where the actual sidewalk is now? Do you expect people to cross here? There's a daycare there that's improperly parked. There's a food truck that's very improperly parked that currently uses your lot, which would be good. All that's on my forth.
But it's a good place.
Yeah, yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things there, but it's very, very, it hasn't been dealt with well in the past, and it's all catching up. And now we're getting a much larger tenant, or much more heavy traffic tenant for what we see here, so it's going to be compounded. So, otherwise, I would urge you guys to ask for an agreement from an adjacent property owner for the parking situations for employees. That's something that I don't think is too much to ask, some sort of disagreement. Otherwise, I think that's it.
I have so many notes on this piece of paper, I'm not sure how we're gonna. You have a better scale here.
Yeah. Donna?
What's that, Jay? Do you need more paper? What's that? You need more paper?
Uh,
No, I have
Pam
notes on
Parker.
every piece of paper.
I mean, I
have
got
right
lines
here.
if you need line paper.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm short.
Can somebody push it out?
Thank you. Hello, my name is Pamela Parker. I live on Lakewood Drive, which is the farthest away. But I have been here 50 years. I served on council for 22 years, on planning and zoning for 2 years. I can read, I know about data collection, and I can evaluate information and reach conclusions. When I talk about the zoning, I was here when it was zoned neighborhood commercial before any changes were made currently to that. And I think what the problem is we don't have a shared reality on what neighborhood commercial is. You seem to think, and Mr. Fisher seems to think that any retail that has a product and sells it for $1 can be in this area. And I say words matter. This is a neighborhood commercial zone. And it says, does this business, your task is, does this business meet the criteria for approval for conditional use in our neighborhood commercial zone? Fireworks are not compatible. This is a neighborhood commercial district, and the businesses serve our neighborhood with goods and services the individuals in this neighborhood need, buy, and use on a regular basis. This is especially evident when you see the diversity of stores we have for our diverse neighborhood. Phantom Fireworks is not a business serving the neighborhood or even the neighbors really within 5 miles of our neighborhood. This is a business that hopes to bring most of its customers from miles and miles and miles away. There is nothing about this neighborhood that is in Phantom Works' mission statement or business plan. And it is not compatible with the flow of business. A neighborhood commercial business has a relatively steady flow of customers. They live close by, they need the products, they buy them, and they use them. Phantom Fireworks hopes to attract hundreds or thousands of customers from miles away. The result will be highly concentrated traffic from those customers before and during every major holiday when fireworks can legally be set off. Now, you can approve if the proposed use will not adversely impact across the traffic flow. If you want to assess the impact of the traffic, you need to realize that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So if you want to know what's going to happen here before a major holiday, you need to have a traffic report that looks at traffic before a major holiday. And April, Ramadan, Easter, Passover, and Earth Day are not major holidays. So the traffic study was not valid. In conclusion, I believe that you must disapprove on all three reasons. It's not a conditional use of this zoning. It is not in accord with establishing a more prosperous neighborhood, and it will have undesirable effects.
Lisa Bruger.
Good evening, my name is Lisa Bruger. I live at 2848 Maplewood Drive. I am your representative to the Northland Community Council. I am your representative to the Northland Community Council, which reports to the Mayor of Columbus. Dave Paul, who is the chair of council, just recently left, but Minerva Park is a part of that council. So I'm going to address the 5 criteria that Eric addressed at the beginning. I want to first, before I start that, I want to say, gentlemen, you have underestimated this community. This community is amazing. We could live somewhere else, but we don't. We have trolley rides, we have wonderful activities for our children. This is where you film a Hallmark movie. Hallmark movies don't have phantom fireworks, or any fireworks for that matter, in their movies. Moving on. The proposed use is conditional use of zoning and the applicable development of standards of zoning codes are met. This is not compatible. Fireworks are not milk and groceries, as my lovely neighbor Pam pointed out. Your study is invalid. May through July is what you needed to evaluate. Number 2, the proposed use compatible with the adjacent land use, adjacent zoning, and the appropriate plans for the area. You've not totally taken in the population density of our surrounding area. I sit on the NCC. We are going to be getting 250,000 residents to Central Ohio every year. That is going to be bringing all those people into our lively Hallmark community. Number 3, proposed use will not adversely impact access, traffic flow, and other public facilities and services. My wonderful neighbors have outlined the capacity to not serve our residents from a standpoint of emergency services, infringing on our neighbors' property rights. It's going to be mayhem. Number 4, the proposed use will not result in destruction, loss, or damage of a natural, scenic, or historical feature. We have at least 3 historical markers within the village. We're going to be known for selling fireworks. That's not what I want to be known for. And have the not so close by and the destruction, loss, or damage of natural, scenic, it's just mind-boggling. It is absolutely going to impact it. Number 5, the proposed use will not adversely affect the public health, safety, convenience, comfort, prosperity, and general welfare. Absolutely it will. We've not even touched on the Islamic mosque traffic on Fridays. All your other stores, the demographic of this community is an incredibly educated, widely diverse group. I counted at least 6 PhDs in this audience. We have an incredibly diverse Hallmark community. I am not for this, and I strongly disapprove.
Brian Wolf.
He's tall.
Just take it out, yeah.
I'm just gonna pull it out because that seems easier. Brian Wolf, 2871 Lakewood Drive. Tonight I've heard a lot of fear. I've heard a little bit of not in my backyard. And in my experience, neither of those are good ways to make decisions, right? What we have is data that was collected in professional manners regarding traffic. We have a plan in front of us on how to handle that traffic. And I think that's pretty substantial. I'll add on to that our concerns about traffic, in my opinion, feel like a MacGuffin. And what I mean by that is that when we don't want traffic, what we're really saying is we don't want a successful business in that location. It is, because what we're talking about is 2 months of the year where we'll have bad traffic. But if the next invention of the Corona is in that location, it could be much worse. This is a known animal with a very, high impact for a short period of time, as opposed to a high impact for a long period of time. This is a net benefit for our community, right? The people saying that it won't be a benefit for our community.
Brian,
Yeah.
Can everybody let him finish? I know there's people that don't agree with what he's saying, but even I can't really hear some of the things he's saying, so.
In reality, I've sat here for 3 hours or 2 hours listening to lots of people disagree with me. And while I may have said my own little snarky comments, they certainly didn't disrupt the room this time. So thank you. So, traffic is a MacGuffin, in my opinion. And I think if you think through those thoughts, I hope you agree with me. Lastly, what I would say is, what I was getting around to, net benefit for the community. The people who are afraid that people are going to come from miles around and see our community, I think that's backwards thinking. People can come from miles around and see our wonderful community and understand why this place is great, instead of chasing out a known quantity of an excellent business. Why don't we embrace them, have a good partner, and move on with life? And so, for my purposes, I hope that we approve this conditional use. I'll voice one last concern that I have not fully considered, and that was Phantom Fireworks, basically their first statement, and that's that their application was submitted before the new code was in place, which means, I'm not a lawyer. I hope that you opine with the village attorney as to whether or not the previous code exists, and I assure you under the previous code, this was an approved use. Those are my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Hood. Eric, can you help? Turn the microphone to a normal person's height.
Why be normal?
Go big or go home, right?
My name's Sean Hood. My wife and I live at 2985 River Lake Road. Been here about 6.5 years. Love the community. I think I'm a real estate agent. Sell a lot of real estate. I don't say that to brag, but I say that to say that I do have a lot of experience. And I did some research trying to find information on how this, are there case studies that, give us information and data to say that this will improve or, devalue property? And there isn't a lot of that information. But what I would say is that, as these gentlemen here gave a lot of hypotheticals as far as what may or may not happen as a result of, Phantom Fireworks going in, I can say a lot of those same things with regard to real estate values. I'm a guy who, before I make a decision, I like to make a pros and cons list. And, I think if we look at, the pros of Phantom Fireworks in our village versus the potential cons of it, I think it's pretty evident that this is not a good decision. Real quick, I want to put on you guys, another member of the community asked me to ask council, has the village discussed the business or the potential business with the Westerville school system? So I just want to put that out there. Do we want to, we will, this will bring in people from, 5, 10, even 15 miles away. That's, businesses are strategically located so that they can bring in people from, different areas. And so it is going to bring in a lot more traffic into our community. I would also mention to council that the community, months ago, created a petition, and they got lots of signatures on it, to put, this topic on the ballot that we unfortunately could not bring to the ballot. But I don't think that doesn't hold merit to council making a decision that, there's a lot of our villagers who signed that petition that are not in favor of this. So a couple of things, I do believe, yes, this is not a liquor store, as was mentioned over here, or an adult store, but I would say it's closer to that than a grocery store, a restaurant, things of those natures. And so those things have proven to devalue property values. And so I think along that lines, there's a case that it could potentially, especially people closer to Cleveland Avenue in the village, where it could devalue your properties. Additionally, and I'm finishing up here, I think homeowners insurance is a real concern. Again, it's hypothetical, but having a number of properties, and those even out of state, that are affected by hurricanes and stuff like that, these are real issues and concerns that me as a property owner have experienced, where big companies can make changes to homeowners insurance without their knowledge or even wanting.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Abby Williams.
Hi, I'm Abby Williams. I live on Wildwood Road. My husband had to go home to relieve the grandparents. So I just have a few talking points. I think most people covered everything very well already. One of the things we keep hearing is about how it's retail, retail, retail. I think one of the reasons we can't simply say that is because let's say if we're a vape store, I wouldn't be thrilled about it, but there's another vape store on Route 3. If it were a gun store, I would be thrilled, but there's another gun store down in Vance's down in Linden. So this doesn't have local competition. So I was sort of looking at a map. Between here and Grove City, it's about 24 miles. About the halfway point is 5th Avenue. So you're looking at OSU, you're looking at Clintonville, you're looking at Worthington, you're looking at all of those places. And while they aren't allowed to set off fireworks, the reality is, hey, let's get drunk, let's go, let's go buy some fireworks and something like that. My husband was brave enough to talk to our insurance agent and tell them what was going on. And they said that our rates would not increase, but that Phantom would actually cover any costs of any kind of damages. I don't know if Phantom has any plans to do that, and I don't know what kind of a legal battle that would be. But our insurance company seems to be underneath that impression. Talking about fireworks being stable, if you actually look recent news articles about teenagers and even adults setting off fireworks in stores, there are a number of incidents from this summer alone that have occurred. In talking about signs that can be set up, a lot of the people who live in this area are non-native or not English-speaking people. I mean, a lot of them. So that concept of just put up a sign and it will all be fine, I think is a bit of a fallacy. I say that as someone who lived in a foreign country for a long time and couldn't always read the signs. And sometimes it's a challenge enough just to handle your day-to-day stuff. I know a lot of mistakes have been made in the past, by council. That's why we're here today. I think we should look past that and sort of move forward. I also know that money was accepted from Phantom Fireworks. which I feel is inappropriate. I also think we should maybe look past that. And as we move forward, I hope that P&Z would make the correct decision and vote against this permit. And I also ask council to do the same as well. Thank you. I really my time.
Kevin Kindy.
Good evening, Kevin Kindy, I live at Market Court. So if they're not turning around in the driveway, they're turning around in my court. And I call it my court because I mow the grass in it. So I think I get to say that. Basically, just want to touch on a few things that I was thinking about here, things I've heard about from the staff report and the applicant's report. Yeah, parking's certainly going to happen on Jordan. I think to think otherwise is ignorant. It doesn't matter how many signs we put up. I think if we do put up temporary signs, people are going to ignore them. That's going to be a bigger burden on the police department to deal with that. One of the conditions we keep talking about here is not adversely affecting traffic. I mean, we're talking about we've got to hire, or they've got to hire additional police officers to deal with traffic, to get people in and out. We're talking about temporary signs. I mean, we're talking about, it seems like a lot of hoops we've got to jump through to not adversely affect that traffic. So it doesn't feel like it fits into that category of not affecting traffic. Part of what I think we heard in the staff report is there's a little bit of a wait and see kind of approach, so let's see how it goes with parking. I know we're talking about, we've got conditions that we want to do. I don't really love the idea of, I like the idea that we thought about it, but the wait and see approach makes it feel like, well, now it's happened, now what do we do? How do we deal with this every single year moving forward? That doesn't seem very ideal. I think people keep talking about the effects of GFS. They were not the most ideal neighbor. I mean, these guys are dealing with a site that doesn't really, it's not very convenient probably for most businesses, right? I mean, we're dealing with it right now with the Yasmin Market. Their parking's overflowing into their parking lot. So I think we've got a bigger issue here. In terms of that, how we fix it, I don't know. I mean, a quarter mile down the road, we've got a parking lot that bleeds out on the Cleveland Avenue with 0 curves. Way worse than we're dealing with here, but I don't know how we're deal with either of that. The other thing I want to talk about, I guess, is just the minor thing, 50 feet of left turn lane. I think we heard that's 2 cars. I mean, that's basically what we have for the left turn lane going into Jordan. That got restriped down in Cleveland, I don't know, a year or 2 ago. It feels like we lost 2 cars length of that turn lane. 50 feet, 2 cars, left turn lane off of Cleveland into their parking lot, not gonna work. There's not enough room. That's gonna be all the way backed up into the turn lane specific for Cleveland. And then other people mentioned, the truck delivery. I mean, the only way I've seen truck delivery work for the Yasmin Market is they've got to pull into their parking lot back straight across. Again, they're dealing with a site that doesn't work yet, the market's dealing with a site that doesn't work. I'm sorry, we've got to fix these issues as they come up. Now's our chance, right? I think that's it.
Thank you.
Diana, I'm not going to try to butcher your last name.
It's Indiana.
Good thing I didn't try. Welcome.
Yeah, it's a lot of vowels. So you're not the only one. I don't know if I need to be adjusted or not. All right, well, there we go. So I am Deanna. I am on Ponderosa, but I work on Wildwood. So my drive to work is not very far, but I can agree with what's being said by the other villagers. I know the main focus is Jordan, but I do see a lot of issues that does overflow into the strip mall there. I do see the accidents, and we do hear the accidents being done and getting the walkway that's there. I don't know how this is being all feasible. And I also know that the park is a loving area for our pets. I know when I had pets, they were not very fond of these fireworks. And I'm pretty sure other residents that have pets here are not going to be happy that they're going to have pets being medicated. And to the gentleman that had said that, this is, common sense thing of firework, or to have fireworks, it's really not. You don't have the right state of mind to have these fireworks, and if it gets exploded in a place where there is tons of trees, where that it's not within that 150 feet, then I don't know. It's not very common sense to have it when there is these issues here. And I also just didn't hear about our veteran population. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be very happy to be hearing even more constant fireworks being exploded all in the neighborhood. And why add added stress to that population when they're already going through enough issues with having PTSD from those kinds of explosions or something similar to those explosions? So I would really think think about that population, and I would like to let you know that I dissent on this company being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Hall,
You up?
Jessica Vandermoss? Jessica? Is it Jelana?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Joanne Tinger. I live at 266 East Shore, of course, right behind Park Lane. I really don't want to go over what's been said previously, except for I don't feel that it's fireworks as a whole for a neighborhood is not a retail. And the attorney, you said that yourself. So, in August or September, when we had you guys come into council meeting, I think it was clear at that time that it wasn't a retail use, and that's why you waited until February after the zoning, the P&Z changed neighborhood commercial to add conditional use. Even though conditional use is what you're listening to now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's conforming with neighborhood uses that was in the code since 1989, which is pretty simple. What a consumable goods are. You go into a store and you buy something, you use it. With fireworks, we can only set them off 15 times. I said 15 times a year that they can only be set off during those times. So there's 365 days in a year. The compatibility of adjacent land uses around, you're going to open up a can of worms. The fireworks store can come in, so can a whole lot of other uses within the buildings within our village. It will adversely impact access to our homes, the traffic flow, and at a 2.5%, you say that you growth factor each year. That's going to pay a cost down the road. So not just today or tomorrow, but in a few years from now. I will absolutely. I agree that it will affect our comfort and prosperity and general welfare. It has really nothing to do with Phantom as a company. But if I can say, I remember, Jack April, you came in August of last year telling us that you had bought the property and that you were just go ahead and start. And one of the things that you said was that you're not a mom and pop's store, that you are professional. You guys do, $3 million in sales per store. That the reason you wanted this location, why this location to you was so important, was that so many people. We were close to the interstate, which I'm not sure 270 or 71 is really close to this location, but
what you said is that people pass through. You said people pass through on the interstate, they come from Michigan, Indiana, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. This is a neighborhood commercial use, and the state of Ohio even says if you buy fireworks in Ohio, you have to set them off in Ohio. So even your own director of development came to our council meeting insinuating that this is not a neighborhood use. So I'm not sure how we're sitting here today for you to come into our neighborhood when you knew in August and September this wasn't something that the neighborhood was going to embrace. We're not going to embrace the store if we don't feel that the fireworks is what we want within our neighborhood. We're trying to grow, we're trying to add walking paths, we're trying to do things, we've added all kinds of things to make it more village-like.
Okay,
Fireworks
Thank you very
does
much.
not hold in, to that, so thank you.
Thank you.
Sue Sutherland? Sue? Quinn Strauss? Is Quinn here? Jerry Hagan? Davis Chapman?
Float right through.
Is that Dorr? Tirado?
I don't see them here now.
Charles Legg?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah. Why? I think David just, all I hear is audio visual. My name's Charles Legg. I live on Lakewood Drive. I'm a retired Columbus Fire Lieutenant with the Columbus Division of Fire. And I'm speaking to you about my urgent concern about potential threat to public health and safety within Minerva Park and its residents due to phantom firework plans. When stored in large numbers, fireworks pose a hazard. You can't get around that. No matter what the safety measures you adopt, there is always a high probability that a catastrophic event will occur. One example, and I think it was brought up earlier, was on July 5th, 1996. At a fireworks store in southern Ohio, a young man came in, he thought it would be fun to set off fireworks in the store. 8 people died because of that, and other multiple people received major injuries. That's not the kind of news you want to hear on the TV about Minerva Park. My 30 years in the fire service has taught me that fires and explosions still occur no matter how safe you make something. The Florida fire, I think, was an example of that. Sprinkler systems are effective in fires, but when explosions are involved, their effectiveness drops. And I understand that you have the fire suppression system you have, and that's good. I applaud you for that. But the unpredictability of fireworks, especially those burned in mass, is a significant concern because of their discharge and travel distances are unpredictable, potentially spreading additional fires throughout the village. The prevailing westerly winds in central Ohio only heightens this danger, as smoke and fire would drift towards the village on most days. It's worth noting that the cities of Columbus, which completely surrounds Minerva Park, Dublin, Gahanna, Hilliard, Powell, all changed their fire and zoning codes after the state of Ohio allowed the sale of fireworks in the state. This was a common sense move as they recognized the danger of allowing a building full of explosives within a residential area. Why the village didn't check into this at the time, I don't know. I don't know. But as I conclude, I leave you with this pressing question. Phantom fireworks came to Minerva Park because other communities, including the city of Columbus, were unwilling to accept the risk of having Phantom Fireworks or another fireworks company in their community. So why should we bear that potential risk and hazards? present in our community. I think that's a very important. Thank you.
Paloma?
Good evening. I wanted to express my objection to phantom fireworks coming into our neighborhood. I live at Paloma Martinez Cruz. I'm at 5350 Park Lane Drive, and of course that means one way in, one way out. I know that, like some of the other fellow villagers, I'm concerned. I'm not sitting here thinking about the freak accent. I'm thinking about the mundane use of fireworks. It is an inherently unsafe activity to put explosive in the hands of consumers. You need to be over 18 to use them, so that's telling me something about this is an adult item. This is an adult, this is something that only certain people can use, right? And it's unsafe because it needs to be in the hands of people who are unsure. I didn't get the sense, and we haven't really talked about consumer behaviors around fireworks. We're acting like every consumer is going to be the ideal fireworks user, but we know that increased access is going to be increased people who are also irresponsible fireworks detonators, and that's going to be something that impacts our community, that impacts our neighborhoods. If you have a home near a fire range, it's on average 4% less in terms of quality property values, and that's because of noise pollution. We don't have a real comparative that we've listened to tonight, but at least a fire range has operating hours. The kind of consumer that might not be the one with the halo above, right? Like the one that, and I'm a professor at OSU, I teach 18-year-olds, I teach 19-year-olds. They specialize, they major in having no sense. And they're very proud of being able to buy something that, they're very proud that they're able to, finally get their hands on things that have been, so far in their lives prohibited by law. So I know that the kinds of consumers, we cannot imagine just merely, that idealized person who's going to respect every ordinance, right? So I think that the all hours, the average, the mundane misbehavior is going to be something that really affects our property values and our safety. And I have to say that I was very dismayed and disappointed to hear such a cavalier comment about the store being open until 12:50, that customer that comes in, hopefully sober. That sounds flippant, but you're talking about my access to my home. You're talking about my only way in and out. You're not telling me that phantom fireworks consumers are really good stewards of my only way into my home and my only way out of my home, right? That is not inspiring confidence, and I feel like that's a really crass way to look at our neighborhood where we live. And I frankly pay too much taxes to Rita to live someplace where my entry points to my home and my exit points are in the hands of phantom fireworks customers.
Thank you. Daniel? Yes.
Hi, I'm Daniel Heck of Maplewood Green Park of basketball courts. And I lived in Linden for over a decade before I moved here. And a huge part of why we moved is because every night someone's getting shot within a quarter mile of us. And the combination of gunshots and fireworks made it feel like we lived in a war zone. It had intense adverse effects on our health and well-being, and if you look at the effects, and it's the combination of gunshots. We recently had a shooting here in the neighborhood, and routine fireworks explosions that radically degrade quality of life, property values, all of that. In my own experience, in all seriousness, without any exaggeration, the four biggest factors that have degraded my quality of life are meth houses, human trafficking happening around me, gunshots happening around me, and fireworks. And so when we're trying to find a parallel, is it a liquor store, is it an adult store? I would say it's like a meth house. Okay, that's how adversely it affects my health and well-being, my family's well-being, to have routine firework use, which is very likely to happen with this so nearby. And so with that, I'm very, so please forgive me if I'm elevated, but I'm actually, in fact, feeling like I'm protecting my family's basic health and well-being here. And the one ray of hope, and I've heard a lot of hopelessness from people here in the park talking about this, and you guys, there's a general feeling about talking, you have the legal right to jam this thing down our throats if you want to. And I want you to know that I respect your legal right to jam whatever you want in my face, if you want to. But I'm interested in our legal rights, and my question for the council is, will you respect our legal rights to do a variety of things that you might also find unpleasant? So, for example, while making sure that ingress and egress is protected, what if, you guys don't have a lot of days that make most of your money? I would love to just have a neighborhood tradition. One of the things I love here is neighborhood quiet. Another is neighborhood tradition. I want to start a neighborhood tradition of just slowly driving around while protecting people's ingress and egress and making traffic worse for you. I also believe that the council should protect my right to shop for a bottle rocket or a box of snakes for as long as I want in that store. And so your traffic planning might not have taken into account the fact that you have a village of people whose health and well-being you are threatening by jamming your rights down our throats. And I would love to spend 12 days a year on your biggest shopping days, joining with my neighbors and spending 8 hours to 12 hours out of silence at 1 a.m. I might even have a couple drinks before I come. And just really, really think about which flower or snake or bottle rocket I'm going to buy. And I really hope you reconsider. And I really hope you do everything you possibly can to stop this.
Is there anybody who would like to speak who had not signed up? Going once? Twice? Go ahead.
Would someone like to read what I put together?
Yes. Sure. Good evening. I'm sorry, my list was gone by the time I got here, so I didn't have a chance to. Diane Schrum.
Oh, hang on, hold it. I'm gonna fail again. Hold, please.
Diane, where do you live?
All right, go ahead.
Diane Schrum, 2595 Minerva Lake Road. So we're not on the, we lived in the park since 1986, so we're seniors also. I agree with I just wanted to say I agree with a lot of what has been said. In terms of property values, it's not the kind of village that I wanted to live in. I know that all of those businesses along Minerva Lake Road, along Cleveland Avenue, Minerva Lake Road to Cleveland Avenue, do it every day, going north. And it's a zoo. And sometimes it's quiet, sure, mostly it's a zoo. And it's a dodgeball, and you got people running across the street when it's church day, and all kinds of stuff is going on. So it's pretty crazy anyway. I did want to, so traffic is a concern, but mostly just the idea that I love what Pam said about it being a neighborhood. And fireworks makes it not a neighborhood. If it was at Columbus Square, it'd be perfect. Even the Northline Plaza, no problem. Some people might. Columbus Square, let's say. That would be no problem, absolutely no problem. But ours is a neighborhood, and it's not a neighborhood business. And then the last thing I wanted to do is, I also had a concern about the trucks that would have to deliver fireworks. Because you can have all the wonderful technology and fire prevention in the building, but that does not protect the truck coming into the parking lot if there should be an accident. And as we know, sometimes semis have accidents, and sometimes their contents are affected by that. So, that's just the way it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm handing can I hand my minutes over to Tina? like to read what she submitted?
You've got 3 minutes, and this will be the last person we hear from.
I don't think so, 2:30.
So again, my name is Tina. I'm reading this on behalf of Gina, who lives on Jordan Road as well. This is the impact of a fireworks store on home value and insurance costs and in-depth analysis. Fireworks stores, while integral to festive celebrations, can have adverse effects on nearby residential properties. This essay delves into how such stores impact home values and insurance costs, drawing from empirical studies and expert analyses to illustrate these effects comprehensively. Perceived risk and safety concerns. The safety concerns linked with fireworks stores are significant factors influencing home values. National Fire Protection Association provides data that underscores this issue. In 2020, fireworks were responsible for approximately 19,500 reported fires, including 8,600 structural fires. The risks associated with these stores can lead potential buyers to perceive nearby homes as less desirable. A study by the University of California, Berkeley, published in the Journal of Urban Economics, analyzed impact and proximity to high-risk businesses on property values. The research found that properties located within 1,000 feet of high-risk businesses, including fireworks stores, experienced a reduction in value by 5 to 10% compared to similar properties farther away. Noise pollution. Noise pollution from fireworks can also affect property values. The EPA acknowledges excessive noise can have a detrimental impact on residential areas. A study conducted by the University of Illinois found that homes exposed to consistent noise pollution experience a 7 to 12% decrease in value. Fireworks stores contribute to noise disturbances during peak seasons, such as the 4th of July and New Year's Eve, and can make nearby properties less attractive to prospective buyers, thus lowering market value. Aesthetic and environmental concerns. The aesthetic impact of a fireworks store can detract from the neighborhood's appeal. They're often marked by bright, flashy signage and increased vehicular traffic, which we've all kind of addressed tonight, and it can be out of place in a residential setting. The research indicates properties in visually discordant areas experienced a reduction in value by up to 8%. The impact on insurance costs. There's an increased fire risk that's associated with fireworks stores that directly influences insurance premiums. Properties in high-risk areas face higher insurance costs due to the elevated probability of claims. There's a higher claims frequency. The frequency of insurance claims can also rise in areas near fireworks stores. A report by the Insurance Research Council detailed that neighborhoods experiencing higher claim rates due to nearby high-risk businesses had premiums adjusted upwards by 10 to 25%. There's also difficulty in obtaining coverage being so close to proximity of a hazardous store. Real quick, one thing I'd also like to bring up, there was no mention anywhere tonight of the pedestrian traffic issues that this store is going to provide on Cleveland Avenue with the lack of sidewalks and crosswalks and everything like that around these businesses. So thank you very much.